Hey guys, it's James from Smart Sports, and today's video is all of the injuries for AFC teams in Week 17, and I will not be doing the Tennessee Titans because they already played their game. And let's get into it. For, starting with AFC North, and most specifically the Baltimore Ravens. So the Baltimore Ravens have not had that good of an offense since Lamar Jackson has been hurt, and they really hoped he could come back this week, but unfortunately, he is out this week, so that means they will still have Tyler Huntley as their quarterback, and Marcus Peters, the corner, is also out, and Calais Campbell is questionable. So they were really hoping to get Lamar Jackson back, and that means their offense probably won't do that good against the Steelers. So next, staying in the AFC North with the Bengals. The Bengals have been playing very well recently, and the only injury is Sam Hubbard is questionable, and that's not really that big of a deal. They have Trey Hendrickson and other people on the defensive line, so they will be fine, and the offense will still be fine. No injuries on offense. Next, we have the Cleveland Browns, who are pretty good. The only thing they have is Jadeveon Clowney is questionable, and Jadeveon Clowney has not contributed a ton to the Browns. The main problem is the offense ever since Deshaun Watson came back. This has not done well. The only game with Deshaun Watson that they scored more than 20 points was against the Texans, and they didn't score 20 points because of their offense. It's because of the special teams and the defense. Last team of the AFC North is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers have the corner Trey Norwood out. The defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi is questionable, and Miles Jack is also questionable. So if all three of these guys go out, the defense will lose three starters. Not like the biggest contributors ever, but they really do not want three starters on the defense out. So the defense will still be relatively okay, but with these three guys there, the defense will do better. And they definitely do have a chance against the Ravens since Lamar Jackson's out. So next, starting the AFC South with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they have Trevor Lawrence, who is questionable, Trayvon Walker, who is questionable, Lars Matchek, who is questionable, Brandon Sheriff is questionable, Andrew Wingard, who is questionable. Alonzo Fatu Cassie is questionable. So they have a number of players who might not play, but Trevor Lawrence has not really practiced that much of the last coming weeks. He's dealing with an injury, but it is not affecting his play. He's playing well. He's not missing games. Andrew Wingard did practice on Friday. So I don't really think many of these players will not play. And they play the Texans, so it really doesn't matter a ton because the Texans are just not a good football team. Should not really affect them much. Next, we are going to the Indianapolis Colts. Aston Doolin is questionable. Kylan Glasson is questionable. And Kenny Moore is doubtful. So they have a few players that are out. Kenny Moore is probably the biggest one for corner for them. The defense has been kind of disappointing, and this will not help. I believe they play the Giants, and the offense just hasn't really done anything, so don't really think this will affect them too much. The defense probably will be disappointing, just like usual, but for playing the Giants, so if we do have a chance, the Giants don't score a ton of points. Overall, I don't think these injuries affect the Colts a ton. Next is the Texans, who have Tegon Puertorino, who's out, and Jimmy Melisse, who's out. So, two players that aren't really that important for the Texans. A few backups. But the Texans just do not have really the talent to play good NFL football, and this won't affect them too much. I mean, I can see there's a possibility they beat the Jaguars. They beat them last time, but overall, these injuries won't affect them a ton. But I don't really think it would change anything. We're just not talented enough to win football games. Starting in the AFC East with the Bills, Jordan Poyer is questionable, and Boogie Basham is questionable. Both these players are likely to play, but if Jordan Poyer does not play, that's a big hit to their defense. I think he will, so they play. So I was saying they play the Bengals this week, which is a pretty important game, and if they have Jordan Poyer who's not playing, I can very much see them losing that game. So I think Jordan Poyer will play, but if he doesn't play, it will be a big hit to them. So next is the Miami Dolphins, who have a number of injuries. Tua is out with a concussion. Eric Fisher is doubtful. Terron Armstead is questionable. Xavier Howard is questionable. Bradley Chubb is questionable. River Clarkcraft is questionable. Greg Little is questionable. And Alex Ingold is questionable. So all in all, if a number of these players don't play, then the defense is losing the majority of their team. And also having Tua not play is a big hit. And they have not won a game where Tua did not finish. They lost the Bengals game where he got hurt, and the 3 games he didn't play, they lost those games as well. Teddy Bridgewater is okay, just has not played that well with the Dolphins. And against the Patriots, a quarterback like Teddy Bridgewater will not do very well, and I just don't see the Dolphins winning with Tua out. And the defense could also take a big hit, so this is not very good for the Dolphins. The last team in second to last team in the AFC East that is the New England Patriots. So they have Devontae Parker and Jonnu Smith out, and for questionable, they have Jack Jones, Marcus Jones, Jalen Mills, Mondre Stevenson, Hunter Henry, and Tyquan Thompson. So it's a big hit to the offense to have 2 big playmakers out. And if Hunter Henry also doesn't play, then the offense, I don't see them scoring very much. I could very well see the Dolphins game being a low-scoring game, just because so many players are out for both teams that really limit the offenses. But I think the majority of the Patriots' defense will play, so the defense will be fine. Just the offense, who already isn't good, having 2, maybe 3 playmakers out, maybe even 4 if Mondre Stevenson out, the offense will certainly not do that well, most likely. So for the Jets, they have Brandon Echols and Jeff Smith out. Emma Marcus Joyner is questionable. Vinny Curry is questionable. And Nate Herbig is questionable. So Marcus Joyner is one of the safeties for the Jets. But other than that, most of the players are just non-factors. And their defense should be fine. And Mike White is starting for them. And he has to play pretty well for them to win. They play the Seahawks, who are not the greatest team ever. But they do have a good offense, and obviously I am rooting for the Seahawks to win, and I do think they will win, just because the Jets' offense is not that consistent. So all in all, these injuries don't really affect the Jets that much. So starting with AFC West with the Chiefs, they do not have like any notable injuries, so they are fine in the injuries department. Next, we have the Chargers, who have a big blow when Derwin James is out, and Xander Horvath, the fullback, is also questionable. So really having Derwin James out is a big hit to them. One of their best players in defense. Their defense has been inconsistent, and they do have J.C. Jackson, who is out for the season. So with Derwin James out, I can definitely see the defense taking a hit, and they will probably need to relatively be carried by Justin Herbert and the offense. So next we have the Raiders, who have Zamir White and Jackson Burton questionable. Like, two not that important players. But really, they play for 49ers. As I mentioned in my Derek Carr video, he is not playing for them. They benched him for no reason. Don't really see why they would do that. They would stand him, and injuries won't really affect him, but I just don't see him winning. And last is the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos are kind of hit hard by injuries. Calvin Anderson's out. Greg Dulcich, who has been one of the best receivers. Randy Gregory, his whole defensive piece is out. Kendall Hinton is questionable. Jerry Jeudy is questionable. And Brandon Browning is questionable. They play for Chiefs, and to have any chance, they need Kendall Hinton and Jerry Jeudy to play. If both of those guys don't play, I don't see them playing like well at all. And I don't really see them like playing for Chiefs really well, but they did play for Chiefs close last time. So these injuries are kind of big for them, having like the best tight end, Greg Dulcich, and a very solid pass rusher in Randy Gregory being injured. This is not very good for their season, and a season that has significantly struggled. So yeah, those are all of the AFC injuries for Week 17, except for Titans because they already played. And yeah, if you enjoyed, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time for another video. Bye!